Yo, what's good people? So a bit of a different video. I'm going to be talking about 7 champions that almost achieved greatness. 7 champions that just missed the mark. You know, champions that could be god tier with one small change. So let's just jump into it. Our first one is SpiderGwen. Now, SpiderGwen has incredible utility thanks to her Innovate. She has really strong power control. You get this off your special one. Once you have the Innovate active on the opponent, they're going to gain no power whatsoever when you hit them. And this bypasses a lot of champions' immunity to power control. Like Enchantress, if you power drain her or power steal her, she'll gain a power gain passive and gain that power right back. But that won't happen with the Innovate from SpiderGwen. She can also evade unblockable special attacks, has a really nice slow debuff on her heavy attack. All in all, her utility is great. The only thing she is lacking is reliable damage. Her damage is very mediocre unless you get really good AI. If you get really good AI, her damage can be okay because thanks to that Innovate you can be really aggressive, but most of the time you don't get that really aggressive AI and her damage is really underwhelming. She does have that Hunter Spider off her special 3, which basically deals 50% of her basic attack damage as burst damage. That should be on her heavy attack instead. All they realistically have to do to make SpiderGwen a great champion is give her a way to access her Hunter Spider without making her go all the way to a special 3, and that would give her pretty great damage. It still wouldn't be the best in game by any means, but that in combination with her already very strong utility would make her a great champion that way more people would use. For our next champion, this is the definition of a half-baked champion. Moondragon doesn't really counter anyone the best. She's kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, but she's not even a jack of all trades because like her utility is just half-baked. I don't know how else to explain it. She can counter evade, but you have to ramp all the way up into your telepathic form before you can do that. She reduces the potency of bleed, poison, degeneration and power sting, but it's only by 80%, and in a lot of scenarios that's not enough. She doesn't really counter anyone the best. Her damage is good, but it's not like insane. There's literally no reason to use Moondragon over any other champion, but she's got potential. She's not terrible, she just needs a couple more pieces of utility. The next champion is Dani Moonstar. Now I'm famous for hating this champion and for good reason. Like Moondragon is the definition of a half-baked champion, Dani Moonstar is the definition of a one-trick pony. All she can do is take Nick Fury. She's not good for anything else. Sure, she can take a couple other matchups, but her only utility is countering Nick Fury's second life, and Deadpool X-Force does that better, and he's so much more versatile. There's literally no reason to use Dani Moonstar over Deadpool. What annoys me most is she could be a great champion. She could be a great Serpent counter, but she times out to Serpent in Battlegrounds because you can't ramp her up properly because Serpent bypasses Miss. So even though that marked passive bypasses Serpent's death immunity, she's not a good counter for him. Same with Kindred. The marked passive will shut off his root at the end of the match, but because of all those prowess buffs she gains, she feeds Kindred's charges faster, so again, not a great counter for him. She's just not a great counter for anyone apart from Nick, and Deadpool X-Force does it better. Now for the next champion is Mr. Negative. He's probably the best champion on this list. He is genuinely very good. The one thing holding him back though is a mastery, the unfazed mastery. If you're using this guy in Battlegrounds, good chance your opponent is just going to go unstoppable, hit you in the face, and there's nothing you can do about it. Honestly, it's ridiculous that he doesn't have a built-in safety net against this. I know with the photon synergy he does apply a slow when he evades, but you need a synergy for that. You can't have synergies in Battlegrounds, and it's annoying to fit in a war team. So yeah, just delete the unfazed mastery, to be honest. There's no reason for that to exist. Imagine, like, designing such a great champion like Mr. Negative, such a unique champion, and no one uses him just because he gets screwed over by a single mastery. Literally, if there's ever a meta in Battlegrounds where Mr. Negative is good, everyone in line chats just starts telling everyone to run 5 out of 5 unfazed, and then Mr. Negative irrelevant once again. So he can never be a good Battlegrounds champion unless they release a relic which would allow him to inflict a slow when he evades, which honestly would be amazing, and I don't understand why they haven't already done that. Please, Kabam, give us a relic which can actually let us use Mr. Negative. Now for the next champion is Spidey Supreme. Now he's good enough on attack. My main problem with him is he could be such a strong defender. He's actually really annoying to fight with his miss mechanic, with his power gain. He's honestly a pretty solid defender, but he's not a good defender because he literally has one of the smallest HPs in the entire game, and like no physical resistance or energy resistance, nothing like that. No, he just gets nuked so fast in Battlegrounds. If you play the fight well, he literally dies in like 20-30 seconds at the most. Against, you can use a mid champion against him like a tumor and finish the fight in 30 seconds. That's how small his health pool is. So honestly, I just wish they gave this guy a bigger HP, and that would make him a really solid defender, or at least gave him some sort of protection, damage reduction, just something to make him more tanky. On attack, he's pretty solid, but he has a risky playstyle and again is very squishy. I know Spidey was getting a bunch of regen there, by the way, but he doesn't normally get that. He just has the ability to steal his opponent's regeneration. It's not as OP as it looks, it's just Hulkling's regeneration is very strong and Spidey Supreme can steal it. But moving on to the next champion, we have Toad, who again feels very half-baked, and that's probably why he hasn't been released as a 7-star yet. They're probably going to give him a little tune-up before they release him, or at least I hope they do. He's supposed to punish skill champions that shrug off your debuffs, but he doesn't really counter any meta skill defenders. Not a bullseye counter, not an Atuma counter. He's not even that great for Korg, because Korg isn't going to purify your poison debuffs unless you actually do a medium attack whilst he has the rock field active, and you can't do that, otherwise you're going to take Thorns damage. So yeah, he's kind of mid right now, but with just a few changes, he could be a great champion. His damage is already pretty great and his utility is like decent. He just needs a little more utility to actually counter the skill defenders, which he's supposed to be targeted at. But moving on to the last champion of this video, Infamous Iron Mid. Now he actually has really great utility. He's immune to Incinerate and Shock debuffs whilst that armor up is active, and his power control is really strong. But that's until you play him and realize he hits like a pot noodle. This guy's damage is non-existent. It is genuinely below average damage. Like, he's not hitting like Groot or anything, but he hits like a 2015 champion, I swear. All they need to do is give this guy a little buff in damage and so many people would rank him up and use him because he is actually pretty cool. But that's going to be the end of the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you drop a like, subscribe. We're on the road to 10k, so I'd appreciate that. Thank you all for watching. See you all in the next video.